Police was stand now must to free buy. I better stand with this one.
I'm not gonna buy himself.
Don't they?
But this one why I travel now buy.
Lagos.
Oh, from South Africa.
This one better stand.
I think the thing they cheaper there. 280 rand. The other one now 400 rand. 280 rand now like 40,000 or so.
Yeah.
No, not the big one. No. I buy the big one. Buy this one, the small. But give me this thing, remote.
What is that for?
They're just a controller.
That's not my guy.
I beg. My guy right from time now. Almost there. Thank you. My baby tough one. You have me. Okay, I think we're ready. Hi, hello. Can you hear me? I'm whispering to you because you're my girl. But that's the reason why I don't want you to hear me.
When you fall in love, don't go
Ready. Welcome to Global News on Signature Television. I am Charles Pius. In the headlines, local government election in Rivers State births new political structure. Nigeria begins crude oil sales in Naira to Dangote. Congo launches its first Mpox vaccination campaign, and Trump holds moment of silence for slain firefighters at Pennsylvania rally. Details in a moment. The local government elections in Rivers State took a new turn as against the envisaged obstacles by many observers. The exercise, which commenced early hours of Saturday, was greeted by a calm and peaceful atmosphere across the state.
Political turnaround on Saturday. Our citizens voted in the local government chairmanship and councillorship election in the 23 local governments and 319 wards across the state. Despite the stiff opposition, controversies, tension, and security concerns that preceded the poll, the exercise ended without any major incidents. The turnout was not massive, apparently. due to security concerns occasioned by the withdrawal of police from participating in the election. The APP chairmanship candidate for Port Harcourt City local government area of APP, Ezebonwo Ichemati, voted at Ward 18, Unit 14 in Diobu Town. He commended the timely arrival of RISEC officials and sensitive materials at polling units and the process which he described as transparent and peaceful.
This is one of the fairest and peaceful, seamless elections ever to be held in Rivers State. You can see the atmosphere is fully charged. Our people are out here to vote. Elections are truly going on in Rivers State, and I want to thank RISEC for the timely delivery on arrival of voting materials. This is unprecedented. We've never had it like this before. Unlike other times where most times voting material arrives by 12, and at the end of the day, voters are already tired. Now we've been accredited and have voted. You can see other persons are voting. The local government report I'm getting from other parts of the local government, Port City local government, is also good and favorable that our people are out there voting.
The chairmanship candidate of APP of Obiakpo, Chijioke Iyunwo, who voted at Ward 1, Unit 40, equally commended RISEC for its professional disposition, timely arrival of sensitive materials and officials. He alluded to the role of the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike in political activities in Rivers State, warning that Rivers State is bigger than any single individual.
RISEC has indeed done well. They're not like 8% of what presented to do by doing the right thing. And that was what the Supreme Court have said that to come within the 90 days to get the Rivers State. But by the grace of God, we are very happy and want to thank our people for coming out and voting us. We're also aware that some people have started their own legal protest. We're also aware that this thing belongs to all of us. It's a gospel still have a governor which is members of the state. And what is happening is a normal thing. The man who says he wants to worry about it, the correct minister of the FCT cannot worry about it. That's it for one man to worry as a private estate.
There was also peaceful voting at Ward 9, Unit 6, where Achio Nna, Special Advisor to the State Governor on Civic Society, rated the performance of the electoral umpire 99%, which was corroborated by Promise Reginald, the APP chairmanship candidate in Omuma local government area.
So far, the process has been so far simple. This is what my You can see the turnout here. That's also that the also decided that whatever I can say for free that this is the fairest chance that the election is in recent time. You can see even when they say they're not going to give us security, see how Rivers people are compliant. It's showing you that Rivers people are happy with the government of Rivers State. They're happy with the process, and they want democratically elected local government officials to be nominated in Rivers State. That is what is already Rivers State. Everybody is compliant. People are going freely to vote for their candidates.
Reginald called on the Inspector General of Police to sanction the Rivers State Police Command for their role in the election, saying that Rivers citizens can no longer rely on the police. There was, however, an explosion at the Rivers State APC Secretariat on Aba Road, which further heightened the political tension in the state, even though it did not affect the election process. Factional leader of the party, Tony Okocha, accused Rivers State Governor of being responsible for the act.
See what is happening. After dropping the bomb this early morning, by 3-4 o'clock, the bomb, they dropped bomb. The next thing they did again, they came back again, they threw fire on the security post. You can see it. That's an APC office. You can see it. You are here this early morning to still observe what is going on.
Also witnessed in the state was the pro-Wike PDP protest.
Meanwhile, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISEC, has announced the results for the local government elections held on Saturday, the 5th of October. Chairman of the Commission, retired Justice Adolphus Enebeli, who announced the results, said the Action People's Party, APP, won the chairmanship position in 22 out of 23 local government areas where collation has been concluded. He said collation of the Eche local government is ongoing due to the difficult terrain of the area. The RESEC chairman also said that the announcements for the 319 councillorship seats will be announced alongside that of Eche chairmanship positions when collations are concluded. He said the elections was free, fair, and credible despite all odds, and that polling ended at 3 p.m. and recorded a large turnout of voters.
We embark on declaration of results for the chairmanship elections into the 23 local government areas of Rivers State, emerging from the 5th October 2024 local government elections in Rivers State. Therefore, I, Honorable Justice Adolphus Enebeli, retired, in my capacity as the Chairman, Chief Electoral Commissioner of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, and pursuant to the extant provisions of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Law Number 2 of 2018 and all other laws enabling me in that behalf, do hereby make declaration of results for the chairmanship elections into the 23 local government councils of Rivers State. After painstaking collation of results at the close of poll by our team of officials regarding the local government council elections conducted this day, the 5th of October 2024, the following candidates, having scored majority of lawful or valid votes cast in 2/3 of the respective wards comprising their respective local government areas of Rivers State, are hereby returned as elected chairmen or chairwomen. They are 1. Abua Odua, Ruben Vincent Obo, APP. Ahuda East, Ezu Rizi Chibudom Hezekiah, APP. Ahuda West, Iboro Iyeko, APP. Ahutoro, Tonye Briggs Oniyide, APP. Andone, Lazarus Vote Ntogwile, APP. Asaritoro, Engineer Dr. Sule Amakere, APP. Boni, Anengi Barasua, Wakeups, APP. Degema, Dr. Agriye M. Harry, APP. Eleme, Brown, A.E. Gopa, APP. Emoa, Omeredi Chinedu, David, APP. In respect of Eche, the Commission in its wisdom stood down its result because of the expansive land there comprised of 19 West. Collation good. Want to be sure of correct collation before we announce. And so for Eche local government, it is stood down till the announcement of results or the collation of results for the councillors. We now come to Gukana. Dumiye Monday Belbari, APP. Ikwere Abos Israel Easy, APP. Kana Martins Wibo, APP. Obiako Imuwo Genzinom Chijoke, APP. Ogwebe Mandone Umejuru Mwabu Homa Isaac, APP. Ogugolo Oforideka Ishmael, APP. Okrika Achese Igwe, APP. Omuma Promise Reginald, APP. Okogonkoro Enyiada Clifford Kopigam, APP. Oyibo Okere Gift, APP. Port Harcourt Iche Martin, Ezebunwo Prince Charles, APP. And Tai DK Matthew Felix, APP. The details of the statistics of the respective scores shall be published in RESEC website and the media, and they will be made available to the public and all contestants. The election results for councillorship election into
The result was observed by members of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, chairman of state independent electoral bodies across the country, and the members of the Nigerian Bar Association who acted as observers in the polls. Meanwhile, the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, has secured a landslide victory in the Benue State local government elections held on Saturday, winning all 23 chairmanship positions and 276 consulship seats. The elections were conducted by the Benue State Independent Electoral Commission, BCAC. Announcing the result on Sunday at the Commission's headquarters in Makurdi, BCAC Chairman Mr. Richard Tombowa confirmed that the APC achieved a clean sweep of the polls, which were contested by 5 out of the 8 political parties that had initially expressed interest. Tombowa stated that the elections were largely peaceful, with no major incidents reported, except in Otukbo local government area where BCAC official was briefly held hostage. Thanks to the swift intervention of the police, the official was safely returned to Makurdi. Reacting to the outcome, the state chairman of the Labour Party and the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, Mr. Ibrahim Idoko, praised BCAC for its efforts in ensuring a peaceful and credible elections. Similarly, the state chairman of APC, Mr. Benjamin Omale, commended the electoral body for conducting a free and fair elections. He also expressed gratitude to Governor Hyacinta Aliyah for providing a level playing field for all parties during the electoral process. The All Progressives Congress, APC, has secured the chairmanship seats in the SCN Udim local government area following the local government elections held on Saturday, October 5th in Akwa Ibom State. SCN Udim LGA is the home of Nigeria's Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio. The Akwa Ibom State Independent Electoral Commission, AKISIAC, confirmed the results to journalists on Sunday in Uyo. The Commission stated that it has so far received results from 10 local government areas. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, claimed victory in Uyo, Oron, Okanafon, Oruk Anam, Ikotekbane, Urue, Ofong Uruko, Okobo, Nsitubium, and Eket local government areas, while the APC won in SCN Udim. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu says he remains committed to repositioning the country and creating wealth for future generations. Tinubu gave the assurance at the Southwest Zonal Assembly of the All Progressives Congress, APC, held in Lagos State, where he was represented by his Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila. Tinubu said that his focus was not in 2027 elections, but on how to make Nigeria great for generations, saying he was pained by the hardship in the country. He said that he took some tough decisions for the good of the country, adding that he had love for Nigerians and would continue to listen to them and do what would be good for them. The keynote speaker and immediate past governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, said that Southwest APC should be ready to forge a united front. The host governor and chairman, Southwest Governors Forum, and Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, in his address, appealed to the leaders and other members to give adequate support to the Tinubu administration. Present at the meeting were governors of Ekiti, Ondo, and Ogun States, ex-interim national chairman of APC, Bisi Akonde, and ex-Ogun governors Olusegun Oshoba and Ibikunle Amosu, as well as APC senators, representatives, and House of Assembly members and other top government officials from the Southwest Zone. Reports indicate that several firms have shut down and many others are on the verge of collapse as a result of the high cost of electricity tariff. Individuals and other categories of consumers, especially those categorized as Band A customers, are also lamenting over the effects of tariff hike on their daily lives. Correspondent Chinebe Mikebudam has been feeling the pulse of the consumers as a result of the tariff hike.
That singular pronouncement has expected snowballed into an astronomical increase in the prices of virtually every goods or services in the country. Then came the upward review of electricity tariff and the categorization of customers, in which those listed under Band A now having to pay about 209 naira 50 kobo per kilowatt hour, as against the previous 33 naira per kilowatt hour. Not even the End Bad Governance protest of August 2024 could make the president back down and review the policies. And overwhelmed by the outrageous electricity billing system, citizens still want the government and regulatory authorities to feel their pain.
Like we are saying out there, even though that I always
off it as I'm coming out and go back. I pay not less than 15,000 in a month, which is very high.
You can't compare it. You can't compare it. This one now is very excessively expensive. You understand? It's excessively expensive.
The National Chairman, Southeast Electricity Consumer Association, SECA, Reverend Obioha Okechukwu, accused the service providers of the act of extortion and exploitation against innocent and desperate consumers.
Father, what they want to wait is for you because they feel you needed life. You are frustrated, you are intimidated, you are crushed. You can't wait, to have life. Maybe you have a wire ahead, and they are wondering why there was no light. And then they will come and go, your transformer is bad. You now go and they say, buy a transformer. And the worst of it, the tricky sort of it, the stealing by trick, which you seek as observe, is that they will now tell you to donate it to EDC. It's a bundle of confusion and contradiction.
Obio has said this association was out to enlighten electricity users on the obnoxious practices of the regulators and distributors to further impoverish and inflict hardship on Nigerians, especially in the southeast.
We're working. We're only praying that their own kind of regulatory agency will not be like that of the neck that is now kwashiorkor reading and sickle cell anemic. They are not working. Neck is not working. It's not working. It's like it's a toothless bulldog.
The commissioner in charge of market operations in the newly constituted Enugu State Electricity Regulatory Commission, EERC, Ruben Okoye, said the commission will take over from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, on the 22nd of October following the deregulation of the energy sector. Okoye listed major policies to be put in place by the commission as soon as it takes charge.
And the service provider owes an obligation, an overriding obligation to provide that service. So what we do with this commission is ensure that those two obligations are balanced out. Okay. So the obligation to provide power, provide reliable power, all right, that is the cost based on efficient cost, all right, and then the customer paying his proper share of the price of power. That proper share of the price, properly determined, the customer has an obligation to pay that. Where the customer cheats, he doesn't only cheat the service provider, he cheats all of us. Because he's stealing from us. We are going to be paying that money that he has not paid. So that is
A legal practitioner, Jonas Udensi, narrated the legal framework guiding electricity consumption and distribution. He urged Nigerians who feel that their plight.
It will be more tight to look at what the regulations say out the discos that supplies these services and the consumers themselves. Each party has a right because the discos themselves, purchase the electricity from the transmission company and then sells to the consumer. So they also are there for business and to make profit. But the question is, in delivering their services, where the services did not follow the regulation laid down by the regulatory body here, the NEC. The NEC is a body instituted by the National Assembly, which has the right to regulate what goes on in the power sector, electricity sector. So the question is where the consumer is not getting a satisfactory service, what should the consumer do? Now the regulation says first the consumer should complain to the supplier of that facility or that service. In this regard, in the East, we are talking about EEDC.
Udensi urged the federal and state governments and various regulatory agencies and
A fire incident on Saturday night razed several shops at the popular Canteen Quarry Textile Market in the municipal local government area of Kano State. The inferno, which started at about 7 p.m., began at Gidan Inuwa Maimai Bayajida Street and affected a number of buildings in the middle of the market. Confirming the incident, the chairman of the Traders Association, Balarabi Tatari, explained that the quick intervention by the Federal Fire Service, Kano State Fire Service, private companies, and reinforcements from Sabongeri, Dawanao, and Singa markets prevented the fire from escalating. Tatari described the congestion and lack of access roads, which he said was the major reason why the fire escalated before the arrival of firefighting vehicles. He urged the state government to redouble efforts towards removing structures that obstruct movement and block drainage in the market. When contacted, the public relations officer of the Kano State Fire Service, Saminu Abdullahi, who confirmed the incident, said he had yet to obtain details of the inferno. Meanwhile, the chairman of the African Union High-Level Panel on Sudan, Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, says the Dangote refinery is testament to Nigeria's ingenuity and African entrepreneurship. Ibn Chambers, who stated this in Lagos on Sunday when he visited the Dangote refinery in the Bejuleki, Lagos State, commended Aliko Dangote for his business sense and vision matched with action in driving such a mega project to its conclusion. Ibn Chambers also commended President Tinubu for ensuring provision of crude oil to Dangote refinery. This, he said, demonstrated a commitment to creating and enabling a business environment in Nigeria in general and the smooth operation of the refinery in particular. The federal government has announced that Nigeria has officially commenced the sale of crude oil and refined petroleum products in Naira. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, made this known in a statement on Saturday in line with the Federal Executive Council's directive. On July 29th, the FEC approved a proposal by President Bola Tinubu directing the Nigerian National Petroleum Company to sell crude to Dangote Petroleum Refinery and other refineries in Naira. Days later, the federal government said the sale of crude oil to the Dangote Refinery and other refineries in Naira would commence on October 1st. However, according to Edun, the commencement of the sale of crude oil was affirmed by key stakeholders in the oil and gas sector and is expected to have a lasting impact on the economy, enhancing growth, stability, and self-sufficiency. Still to come, NPHCDA earmarks 254 million naira to boost primary health care in Enugu. Conference seeks women empowerment through unity and inclusive leadership. These and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Global News on Signature Television. The Chief Medical Director of the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, LUTH, Dr. Wasiu Adeyemo, has advised women to be educated about their breasts and make their health a priority, especially by checking their cancer status. Adeyemo, who was represented by the chairman of the Medical Advisory Committee of the hospital, Dr. Ayodeji Oluwole, spoke at the commemoration of the 2024 Breast Awareness Month held annually in October to raise awareness on breast cancer and designated as the Pink Month. The Pink Month is used to educate those concerned about the disease, including early identification, signs and symptoms associated with breast cancer. It said that the more women were aware of breast cancer, the more they would go for screening and treatments, and the higher the chances of survival from the disease. The Chief Clinical Coordinator of the Cancer Center in the hospital, Dr. Habibu Mohammed, urged women to cultivate the habit of carrying out self-examination of their breast at least once every month, since breast cancer can be detected early and treated with little or no cost. The oncologist, who said that some people with cancer live in self-denial only to present the case and seek medical intervention late when the situation had become complicated, cautions against excessive intake of alcohol, cigarettes, and self-medication. A consultant general surgeon, Dr. Lawal Abdulrazak, identified funds, ignorance, lack of proper coordination of stakeholders, and support for the cancer patients as major challenges to cancer treatment in Nigeria. Meanwhile, and still talking about health, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Peter Obi, has described healthcare as a critical foundation for the growth and development of any society. Obi, who stated this during a visit to the Dame Irene Okwasa Memorial Hospital, Irefi Orifite, in Ekwusigo local government area of Anambra State, commended the humanitarian disposition and team spirit of the health personnel towards saving lives, especially the offering of free heart surgeries for hundreds of patients in the hospital. Executive Director of Sir Emeka Okwasa Foundation, Dr. Chidinma Okoye, said the hospital since 2 years of its inception had carried out 117 open heart surgeries for adults and children, which stood at an estimated cost of 7 billion naira. He said 47 of the free surgeries were on children, while 70 subsidized heart surgeries were for adults. The Executive Director of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Muyi Oina, says the agency has set aside 254 million naira to boost primary healthcare delivery in Enugu State. Oina announced the gesture when he led partners of the agency, the World Health Organization, WHO, the UNICEF, and a delegation from his agency on the courtesy visit to the governor of Enugu State. Dr. Oina told the governor that he came to seek a continuous partnership with the Enugu State government on the development of primary health care in the state.
Also resilience and vision. And a lot of what we see in terms of programs and projects from the federal government are quite in sync with our governance philosophy, and indeed they're in line with what we have promised our people. And sometimes we also want to scale, because
welcoming the federal government's intervention, Governor Mba assured that the partnership with the federal government aligns with the Sustainable Development Goals. He said the state will institutionalize primary health care and put modalities in place to ensure universal health coverage in the state.
One of the states
Abia State Governor Alex Oti says he is committed to creating a conducive ecosystem necessary to improve the standard of education in the state. Oti, who stated this during the commemoration of this year's World Teachers' Day celebration in Umuahia, also said the administration would improve the student-teacher ratio in public schools by engaging more teachers. He also directed the Ministry of Homeland Security to provide adequate security in public schools for the safety of teachers, students, and existing facilities, and directed the discontinuation of all forms of discriminatory practices in the payment of teachers' salaries. The national president of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, Audu Amba, said that the new challenges and trends in education had placed greater burden on teachers and expanded their roles. Amba, represented by the National Secretary of the Union, Taiwo Akuben, said that the current situation had raised the need for teachers to build their capacity and remain relevant in the teaching profession. Participants at the Women Conference in Abuja have added their voice to the increasing demand for gender mainstreaming in the industry, economy, and politics in the country. Organized by the Voice of Women Empowerment Foundation in partnership with Women Radio Network and supported by MacArthur Foundation, the conference serves as a platform for discussing critical national development issues and offering solutions. Signature TV correspondent Usman Asiru was at the conference.
Declined by men.
From 1999, I made no to say, if there's any woman that wants to elected, is that my input and support, take that kind. From 1999, I left my position as Secretary of 2006. Until today, I still put mouth, I still, follow the rules. But also, the way that I still advise them. I still speak out for them. I still speak for them wherever I can.
Senator Natasha Akpoti, a keynote speaker, highlighted the widespread struggles women face in all areas of life. She stressed the need for women in positions of authority to connect with grassroots women and work towards their empowerment.
If you are here and you're a politician or you have intentions of vying for political office, this is one of the key points you can use to, well, you have to believe that, not that you just speak words that have no meanings, because I've seen sometimes women go into want to vie for political offices and just cram some things and do not have empathy or connectivity with what they intend to say, and then read out empty manifestos. But you have to sell yourself, you have to sell a relatable idea to the Nigerian woman, especially the married folks, and ensure them that when you get voted, you will prioritize their well-being, you will prioritize their care, you will prioritize their worth.
I also want to call on number one citizen of Nigeria, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Sir, please lend your voice and political will to get the 74 extra seats bill passed by the 10th National Assembly. We need the president to be deliberate. We need the president to be intentional. We need him to use his voice and political will to do more and elevate Nigerian women's inclusion to global standards. To the president again, education is our pillar to knowledge, and I personally thank him for making life a step easier for parents and guardians in meeting financial obligations by introducing the NEL Fund loan.
Mrs. Nkiruka Onyo-Jocha, the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, encouraged women to persevere until they achieve meaningful change. She emphasized that one background should not define one's future and stressed the importance of empowering grassroots women.
After secondary school, my grandmother died, and it became difficult for me to go to school. So I had to continue my education by friends, families, and relatives, from my father. But my father refused because the wife did not allow him to train us. People in the grassroots going through what I passed through. But the joy is, after all this pain and travels, impatience, suffering, neglect, rejection, today, I am here standing, and my community, it's, I think they are very proud of me.
Dr. Abiola Afolabi, chairperson of the World 2024 Planning Committee, in a welcome address, called for the creation of inclusive and transformative pathways for women's leadership. She positioned the conference as a critical platform for stakeholders to engage in discussion that support grassroots women, who she described as the backbone of the nation.
What we're doing there is it's bridging the gaps and bringing grassroots women and
they say now breaking news, but it's not to take after this one.
So, what are you guys going to flash?
We'll just go back to that announcement of results.
Yes, I think that's what it should be. Maybe I should tell them to flash it. So I'll just read this one.
There can never be any better time than this. As women, we need to stand with them.
So the swearing of the 23 local government chairmen under the platform of the APP that won the local government elections in Rivers State will happen today. I just knew that some of the reactions that we've received about this particular local government elections have been that it is not just enough for you to conduct a local government election, but make sure that you do the ceremony of swearing them in. And if he waits till Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, or a week after, or 2 weeks after to swear the local government, to swear them in, it will be devastating, because some people can go to court and get all the injunction in the world. Some people can even go to Supreme Court and make sure that, you know, he doesn't swear those chairmen in. So he's going to take that swearing in ceremony today by 4 p.m. I have not broken the news just yet to the public, but I'm telling you, for those who are online, that's the next story I'm going to read.
Come on, look at it like that. We give you the news, read it. I tell you, always say my guy.
So you have the privilege of knowing for the first time, we're breaking the news that the swearing-in ceremony will take place by 4 p.m. today. And everybody is expected to sit down by 3:30. So get ready. It's going to be at the Government House, Rivers State. Just so you know, I mean, it's going to be really an interesting couple of days ahead. Quite frankly, it's going to be an interesting couple of days ahead. So. And reports just reaching us right now says that the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara will today, Sunday, October 6th, 2024, swearing the newly elected council chairman. The ceremony will take place at the Executive Council Chambers of the Government House, Port Harcourt, by 4 p.m. A statement signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Dr. Tammy Danagogo, directs the newly elected chairman, who may be accompanied by one guest each, to be seated by 3 p.m. So just to remind you, it's a breaking news that we have just received on our stable, that the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara will today, Sunday, October 6th, 2024, swearing the newly elected council chairman. The ceremony will take place at the Executive Council Chambers of the Government House, Port Harcourt, by 4 p.m. A statement signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Dr. Tammy Danagogo, directs the newly elected chairman, who may be accompanied by one guest each, to be seated by 3 p.m. Following developments as regards these elections, and appreciate that you stick with us for a little more of that development. And elsewhere, the police command in Imo, in collaboration with the Nigerian army, have rescued 4 kidnapped victims and neutralized 1 suspect at Ezioha in Mbitolu local government area. The command spokesperson, Henry Okoye, who disclosed this in a statement in Owerri, said the operatives from the command's anti-kidnapping unit carried out the intelligence-led operation in collaboration with the military personnel. According to him, the team successfully dismantled terrorists and kidnapping syndicates, leading 1 suspected terrorist being neutralized and the rescue of 4 individuals abducted along Orlu Road on September 29th. He added that items recovered from the camp included a pump-action gun, 10 live cartridges, 4 expanded cartridges, 4 locally made explosives, a native bulletproof vest, 2 Highlander sport utility vehicles, an ash-colored Toyota Camry, and suspected charms. Okoye said that operations were underway to apprehend the fleeing suspects. Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State has presented checks of 20 billion naira in support of victims of Maiduguri flood and rehabilitation of affected public structures. A check for 10 billion naira was presented to Chairman of Borno State's Flood Disaster Relief Disbursement Committee, while another check of 10 billion naira was given to the Commissioner of Works for Rehabilitation of Public Structures. Presenting the checks at a ceremony in Government House in Maiduguri, Zulum said money realized from donors would be used 50-50 for the victims and food and non-food items. Zulum said in view of the fact that the flood had also affected farmlands and businesses, farmers and business owners who lost their sources of livelihood would also be supported. The governor, who expressed gratitude to all those who donated and those who showed solidarity to the people of Borno State at the trying moment, also lauded the role of President Tinubu and Vice President Shettima in generating support for the victims. The governor also inaugurated a 28-member technical committee to determine the cause of Alau Dam collapse that led to the September 10th flood disaster in Maiduguri and environs, which affected more than 1 million people. Governor Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau State has donated medical and other relief items worth 180 million naira to victims of flood disaster in Maiduguri, Borno State. Mutfwang, who was represented by the Deputy Governor Josephine Pio during the presentation of the items, said that the gesture was aimed at alleviating the suffering of the victims. The items include the 4 truckloads of water, 100 bags of groundnut cake, 100 bags of cassava granules, gari, and 100 bags of millets and sorghum, 100 bags of maize, and 20 cartons of milk, among others. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has applauded President Bola Tinubu for correcting the mistakes of the past by conferring the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger GCON on him. Speaker Abbas, in a statement issued through his special advisor on media and publicity, Musa Abdullahi Krishi, noted that President Tinubu has by the action demonstrated good leadership. Speaker Abbas equally congratulated the 10th House of Representatives for this historic achievement while thanking his colleagues for rising against the age-long discrimination. President Tinubu had, during his Independence Day anniversary address to Nigerians on Tuesday, October 1st, announced the conferment of the Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, CFR, on the Speaker and GCON on the President of the Senate and the Chief Justice of Nigeria. The House had, through a motion by Philip Abese and 249 others, called on the President to correct past mistakes by according the House the same status as the Senate in the conferment of national honors. The Bauchi State Government has inaugurated an 11-member tripartite technical committee to fast-track the implementation of the new national minimum wage. A statement by the NLC chairman in the state, Dauda Shuaibu, showed that membership of the committee comprises representatives of the state's government, Nigeria Labour Congress NLC, and the Trade Union Congress TUC. Shuaibu, who said the development was sequel to a meeting between the two organized labor members of the State Executive Council, SEC, disclosed that the committee has approved 70,000 naira minimum wage for workers in the state. The objective, he said, is to develop modalities for the payment of the national minimum wage to workers. Still to come, Francis Macron says sales of arms used in Gaza should be halted. Dozens of Pakistani police officers injured in clashes with Khan supporters. Details of these and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Global News on Signature Television. Congolese health officials have launched their first Mpox vaccination campaign, which is a key step in efforts to contain an outbreak that has spread from its epicenter in the Democratic Republic of Congo to numerous other African nations this year. Officials held a ceremony to mark the start of a vaccination at a hospital in the eastern city of Goma, where health workers were first in line to receive the vaccine doses. The health ministry warned that the campaign's scope would be small due to limited resources. At the moment, 265,000 vaccine doses are available, though more in the pipeline. The start of vaccinations begins to address a huge inequity that left African countries with no access to the 2 shots used to the fight 2022 global Mpox outbreak, while they were widely available in Europe and United States. Congo has reported more than 30,000 suspected and confirmed cases and 990 deaths since the start of 2024, accounting for 90% of the cases reported from Africa so far this year, according to the WHO. Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron has said that the shipments of arms used in the conflicts in Gaza should be stopped as part of the broader efforts to find a political solution. France is not a major weapons provider for Israel, shipping military equipment worth 30 million euros last year, according to the Defense Ministry's annual arms exports. While reiterating his supports for Israel's security and sympathy for hostages and their families, Macron said it was not consistent for parties to call for a ceasefire yet continue providing weapons of war. In closing remarks at the summit of French-speaking nations, where unanimous statements of solidarity with Lebanon and a call for a halt to fighting was issued, Macron said the coming days are decisive in obtaining a ceasefire and continuing humanitarian work. He also announced that France will host an international conference this month to help drum up humanitarian aid for Lebanon and strengthen security in the southern parts of the country. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hit out at France's President Emmanuel Macron for saying that shipments of arms to Israel used in conflict in Gaza should be stopped as part of a broader efforts to find a political solution. Macron earlier said that the priority was to get back to a political solution and that arms used to fight in Gaza are halted. Macron's comments come as his foreign minister Jean-Noël Barrot is on a 4-day trip to the Middle East, wrapping up on Monday in Israel as Paris looks to play a role in reviving diplomatic efforts.
We should be standing firm by Israel's side. Yet President Macron and some other Western leaders are now calling for an arms embargo against Israel. Shame on them. Is Iran imposing an arms embargo on Hezbollah, on the Houthis, on Hamas, and on its other proxies? Of course not. The axis of terror stands together. But countries who supposedly oppose this terror axis call for an arms embargo on Israel. What a disgrace. Well, let me tell you this. Israel will win with or without their support. But their shame will continue long after the war is won. For in defending ourselves against this barbarism, Israel is defending civilizations against those who seek to impose a dark age of fanaticism on all of us. Rest assured, Israel will fight until the battle is won, for our sake and for the sake of the peace.
Over 80 police personnel have been injured in clashes in India, with supporters of jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan taking part in a march near Islamabad. The march, which is being led by the head of the northwestern province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where Khan's party remains in power, aims to gather in the capital, defying a ban on congregations to press for Khan's release and agitate against the ruling coalition. Naqvi told newsmen that the convoy, led by the chief minister, fired on the police and continuously used tear gas against law enforcers. Authorities have sealed off Islamabad and blocked cell phone services to prevent the gathering. The government has deployed the army to enhance security in Islamabad. Naqvi had previously called on the PTI to delay any gathering until after diplomatic engagements in the city, including a Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting on October 15 to 16, which will be attended by delegations including from China, Russia, and India. Meanwhile, mourners held a funeral procession on Saturday in a Palestinian refugee camp after a Hamas armed wing leader was killed in the Israeli strike on Tripolis, North Lebanon. Saeed Atala, a leader of the Hamas armed wing Al-Qassam brigades, was killed with his wife and 2 children in the Israeli strike on Badawi Palestinian refugee camp. The Israeli military did not immediately comment on the strike in Sunni majority Port City. Israel has sharply expanded its strikes on Lebanon in recent weeks after nearly a year of exchanging fire with Lebanon's Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah. The families of Israeli captives held by Hamas in Gaza have accused Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of abandoning the hostages to maintain his hold on power. Netanyahu has insisted that maintaining pressure on Hamas is the best way to return the 101 hostages still remaining in Gaza. The families of many hostages have often accused the Prime Minister of sacrificing their loved ones by insisting on the continuation of military operations in Gaza, and are now voicing similar concerns over Israel's military escalation with Lebanon's based Hezbollah. Israel's subsequent offensive in Gaza has killed more than 41,000 Palestinians, according to Gaza Health Ministry. Around 100 hostages remain in Gaza, at least a third of whom are believed dead. More than 100 hostages were released in return for Palestinian prisoners in November, and 8 have been rescued by Israeli forces. Plumes of smoke were seen rising over Beirut's southern suburbs as day break on Sunday, October 6th. Massive consecutive strikes hit Beirut's southern suburbs from late Saturday, October 5th into Sunday. Reuters eyewitnesses said, sending booms across the city and sparking flashes of red and white for nearly 30 minutes, visible from several kilometers away. Strikes also hit close to the airport, according to Reuters witnesses, after the Israeli military warned some residents to flee. The strikes came after days of bombing by Israel of Beirut suburbs considered strongholds for Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah, killing its leader Saeed Hassan Nasrallah and possibly his potential successor. And elsewhere, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump held a moment of silence for slain firefighter Corey Comparator at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday, October 5th. Comparator was a firefighter who was killed when a gunman tried to assassinate the former president at a rally in Butler on July 13th. Trump led the moment of silence at 6:11 p.m., marking the time that the July shooting began.
Christian, a veteran and a proud former fire chief, very respected within the town. Everybody knew him. Few men volunteered to run into fires, but Corey was one of those who did. He ran into fires. I spoke to people that were with this guy would do anything. He was brave, right? Brave guy like you. And he was also a protector who put his life on the line for others, and he loved doing it. And when the sound of gunshots pierced the air on that July evening, Corey leapt into the fire one more time. In his last seconds of this earth, he threw himself on the top of his wife and daughters. He didn't want them hurt. He threw himself. He said he knew what was happening. He didn't want them hurt. And he was hit hard. He was hit hard. And he gave his life to shield their lives. Every father and husband in America hopes that if the time came, we would have what Corey had. Tremendous courage, tremendous guts, and he wanted to protect his family, and he did protect his family.
July 13 was the first of 2 attempts on Trump's life. On September 15, the gunman hid undetected for nearly 12 hours at Trump's golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida, with plans to kill him, prosecutors have said, but was thwarted by U.S. Secret Service agents patrolling the course ahead of Trump. And that's the news hour. Many thanks for watching. Charles Pius is my name. Good afternoon. What a run.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you're coming to prepare for your show for 2?
Yes.
From the correspondent to the world.